Professor Whitman this morning is going to be talking about nature and using it to calm, to connect, and to spark creativity. And so we're super pumped for those of you here on Zoom. We've got a few of you here in this wonderful gazebo outside, and we're just really excited. So with that, Professor Whitman, I will shut up and turn it over to you. Welcome to Spartan Talks, and thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much, Professor. Thank you so much, Professor Chen. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. I'm just going to share my screen. Let's see, I think I have your screen up. There it is. Good. All right, let me just push start here. And we're going to be talking about the use of nature to calm, to create, and to connect today. And one of the reasons that I love this topic is because I'm studying mind and body medicine at Saybrook University out of California. And so I've taken a great interest in the use of nature, especially during the pandemic. I think there's been an increase in the popularity of getting outside, especially when we were all in lockdown. And so to really get us into the feel of how we can use nature, I'd like to start off with a grounding exercise. And I've already told the people in attendance here that ask you to stand for this grounding, and anything that you have on your feet. So whether it's socks, shoes, slippers, please make yourself comfortable in the environment that you're in. And you can do this grounding exercise with your eyes open or closed. So if you're going to leave them open, I also invite you to place yourself near a window, possibly, so you can look outside, or if you're already outside at your home, that's wonderful as well. If you want to stay inside, have something close by that represents nature for you. So whether it's a plant, maybe something you've collected at the shore, maybe there's a picture that you really enjoy that was taken outside, have that within your view of focus. And as you're standing, I'm also going to ask you to have your feet about hip width apart and have your knees bent, gently bent. And what this does for you is that it allows a flow of energy. And so when we're connecting with the ground, the earth today, that's what we want, is to have that free flow of energy from the outside coming in through our core, from the top of our head, down into our feet, into the ground. And so if you have that stance, I'd like you to first just focus on your body and your breathing. So taking a nice gentle breath in and releasing it. And again, nice gentle breathe in and releasing it. And with the next inhale, try envisioning breathing in the sun and the warmth, and pushing that breath of the warmth of the sun right down into your core. And as you exhale, allow the warmth of the sun to melt away any tension or stress that you may be feeling. Try repeating this warming and melting breath two more times. So breathing in the sun, warming through your nose, down through your lungs, into your core, and melting away the stress from your muscles, the tension that you hold anywhere in your body. And again, inhaling the warmth, the comfort, the energy of the sun, focusing on those areas of your body that may need a little TLC, melting away the tension and stress. On your next breath, try pushing the warmth of the sun through your core, down into your hips, down through your knees, and down into your feet. There should be a warming sensation now, filling your form, filling your body, down into your feet. And with that warmth, feel the energy that the earth, the ground that you're standing on, is holding for you. And feel an energy through your legs, and try to push the earth apart with your feet. Envision the earth splitting into two between your feet. Feel the power that the earth provides you as you split it in two. And then let go and breathe in and release any tension again. With your next inhale, envision that greater flow of energy that now connects you to the earth and to the sun. Picture the warmth and the light of the sun and the strength and the stability of the earth flowing through your body from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. And as you breathe in and out, continue to apply pressure to the earth and connect with the ground. And now take notice of how your body's feeling. Take notice of the sensations. Have you noticed any temperature changes in your feet, in your hands, in your heart? Is there a vibration of energy streaming through you? Can you feel your blood pumping from your heart out to your arms, into your legs? Take notice of your emotions. Have there been any shifts? Has there been an increase or a decrease of any of your emotions? Out and connect and feel warm. Now that you're aware of your inner self, become aware of the support of the earth and take a moment to focus on the strength and the resiliency of this land you are residing on, and become aware of all the resources in this land. Take a moment to thank the land and take a moment to honor the indigenous people that have lived here before you. Continue to breathe. Allow the warmth and the light to flow through you. And in your mind, attempt to share that energy on Zoom or in person. We all have the same intention of engaging in this practice together in this moment. And on your next breath, hold your hands to your heart and let's thank one another, the people that came before us, and this earth. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And when you're ready, you can come back. And I hope you enjoyed this moment of connecting with the earth. And I hope you can picture all of us that are here today in a community and in a circle in sharing this energy. So let's talk about the benefits of nature. The first is of telling side effects of sharing nature, of relying on nature and calling for it to help us increase our well-being. It's always really available, no matter where we live, if it's in a rural area or an urban area. We enjoy it. And we can actually improve our cognitive functioning at zero cost. So I know if you've ever been on social media, you might see ads for nutrition shakes to improve cognitive functioning, or you might see apps that you can download on your phone for a small price. And sure, they might work, their claims might be proven, but I'm here to support the fact that you don't need any money to improve your cognitive functioning. You can just go outside. It also improves overall well-being as it heals and it calms. You may have felt a calming sensation, at least I hope you did. The next thing that I just want to briefly touch on is that the cost of neglecting nature. So some of us may say, I'm too busy to go outside. I'm too busy to take a walk. It's too cold outside, right? We all live in Pennsylvania, so we know winter is on its way. But there's been some research done regarding people who live in the Arctic areas of the world. And what they found is that people who stay inside, they don't go outside to get any of the fresh air. They've actually had disruptions in mood, in their sleep, in their wake cycles or rhythms. There's also a lack of concentration and focus. So this study was done in educational settings, and they found that children that aren't able to go outside, that they have classrooms that they don't have windows, so they're not able to get the view of the sun, the trees, the outdoors, are actually more likely to be fidgety at their desks or more disruptive or have behavioral issues. So that then leads to academic performance concerns for students. We've also found that when we look at studies regarding the elderly, that there's a decline in cognitive functioning when our elderly are housebound or they're placed in residential homes where they're not being taken out outside on a regular basis. So these are all reasons that we really want to keep in mind the benefits of using nature for well-being. So how does nature act as a calming tool? Being outdoors naturally reduces stress by lowering the stress hormone cortisol. So this study was taking place in California, and what they did was they got a group of volunteers. The volunteers came, and there's a strip that you can put under your tongue that actually tests for your hormone cortisol. And so they took notice of how high the cortisol level nature walk. On this walk, they asked the participants to take notice of, what you see outside. Listen to the birds, notice squirrels running around, take notice of the leaves, the shapes, the smells. Sit down, put your hands into the ground, be one with the environment. After the 45 minutes was over, these participants went back. They again tested their hormone levels, and they found that the cortisol levels had dropped, and that the participants were actually saying, yeah, I feel a lot better than I did before. I actually, some participants than I did. Contact with natural light is a therapeutic tool. It has immediate positive effects on stress, blood pressure, and the immune system. And so I just explained a little bit how the cortisol works, but let me tell you a little bit about the immune system. When you're outside and you're in the natural light, your body's immune system actually begins producing more T cells. And I'm wondering if you've heard about T cells now with COVID being in the news. T cells are really good. They help us stay healthy. They fight infection. So just sitting out here with the sun shining on me, my immune system is happy and it's working overtime for me. Outdoor activities such as hiking, gardening, bird watching enhances the nature-human connection and can act like a catalyst to happiness. And so I really want you to think back in your memories and think about a time that you've taken part in any of these things, or even just sat out maybe outside of your house and just let the sun be absorbed into your skin. Think about what that felt like within your body, because not only does it create a nature-human connection, but it also connects the mind and body, which is also good for our health and happiness. People who take their worries outside describe their thoughts changing from ruminating, and ruminating means it's that constant thought that just keeps going round and round on repeat, or maybe it's a worry that goes round and round on repeat. When we go outside, we become more reflective and we become more meditative. So what I encourage you to do is next time you have one of these thoughts that's just ruminating within your mind, take it outside and sit with it. And instead of just sitting with it, what I tell my clients is to take an active 5 to 10 minutes and really think about how that thought can be connected to nature and how that then interacts with your body. Where does it become activated in your body? And a lot of us hold tension in our necks, our shoulders, our chest, sometimes our hearts or our heads. So really think about, asking nature or thinking about how is the environment making me feel right now as I have this worry? And the combination of all of this sensory input from the outside will allow you to become more reflective on that worry. And again, it brings you more into a calmer state. It lowers your blood pressure. It lowers your heart rate so that you become more meditative on it. And it's more solution focused, and you're more apt to find to stop the rumination. So humans have always had a natural bond with the earth. And so I have two short examples here, and please feel free to ask more questions at the end. But the first one is Clifford Pinchot. He was the father of U.S. forestry, and he actually grew up in Pennsylvania. He was very well-to-do. He was the commissioner for forestry for President Roosevelt. And he had noticed that the forests within Pennsylvania were being destroyed. And the president had said, you know, because of your love for nature and because of my love for nature, I'd really like you to go out across this beautiful country, and I want you to start beginning to preserve the forest land. So he actually tripled the forest preserve during his time as the commissioner. Why? How does this? And it said that he was telling people about this task, going out into the country and preserving this land, especially when industry was booming and forests were being cut down, and for the economy, he was trying to balance the stress and the heaviness that he felt when he saw the destruction of the land, but also the fact that he had to balance industry for what was good for the country, but for what was good for the people living in this country as well. And he said that when he was out in these mountains, in these forest areas, he actually had a sense of Adamic ecstasy. And so what this is described as is almost a hypnotic state of being one with the land. And he said that he could feel the stress melting away from him, see a clearer picture of what he actually did in preserving not only the country's beautiful land, but also Pennsylvania's. And then I want to just touch on briefly the indigenous people of the world as of nature. This connection had allowed them to be united in a common goal with the ecosystem of enhancing it and also preserving it. So using it for medicinal uses, and also using it to increase their own well-being. John, two is the use of nature to inspire. Now, this slide might look really cluttered, but I have to tell you, when I was looking up all the uses of nature to inspire, I got a little overwhelmed, but in an excited way, because nature can inspire us to paint, to create art, to create gardens, to create music, to create poetry. People have danced to celebrate the beauty of nature. And I just love the quotes by Van Gogh: if you truly love nature, you'll find beauty everywhere. So the next time you're feeling down or you're feeling stressed, I suggest just taking a look at nature and going outside. And the thing, Emily Dickinson points out is the simplicity of nature. It's so easy to use. You literally just need to use your five senses. And so the next time you have a project, a paper, a presentation you have to create, take a walk outside, take a look at a picture that's inspiring, that's of a picturesque view, and really go with it and see where it takes you. Ignite your passion for nature. There's just one more reason that I have contact with nature predicts a sense that life is worthwhile. So nearly 4 times larger than the increase associated with higher socioeconomic status. So what does this mean? It means that if you're able to go out and you're able to connect with nature, you're able to find beauty in it, that you are 4 times more likely to be happier and to have a sense of well-being and to feel a sense of your place in this world than as if you have, you're making a lot of money, you're doing very well off monetarily. So I think that's pretty cool. So the next thing is, how do we do this? I have 5 suggestions for you. The first one is to engage your 6 senses while you're outside. So while you're out here, or you're looking out the window, or you're looking at whatever represents nature, look at it at the minuteness of all the different parts that fit together. Listen to the outdoors. If you're going to bed at night and you're stressed out, or you have that ruminating thought, put on a soundtrack of nature sounds. You can also feel nature. The next time you're outside, put your hands in the grass or the dirt. The dirt actually has minerals in it that also has something I'm sorry, got tongue tied, but the minerals actually have an interaction with your body that also increases your immune system. And then the next time a seasonal fruit or vegetable is out, so right now pumpkins and apples are out, as you're eating them, think about where they came from. Think about the land that they were grown on. And then I also, that sixth sense that I talk about, that's that felt sense. Think about how nature interacts with your body. Where does it activate your body? When I'm outside like this, my heart is activated. I feel a lightness in my chest, and I almost have a warm energy that flows through my body. And that goes on to emotionally engaging. How do they affect you emotionally? Some people say they love the change of fall, and that affects them as if they're ready for change. They want to push themselves forward in something that maybe they have thought about doing, but they haven't yet. Some people say that this energizes them just because of the beauty and the warmth that comes with it. So think about, how can you emotionally engage with it? I also encourage you to find beauty within nature to express through your own art, your music, and your words. Take a time, a designated time throughout your week, whether it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and just write, do art, put music on that makes you think of music. Explore nature brings meaning to life. So the next time you feel disconnected from your friends or your family or your community, connect with the earth. Because as we saw with Guilford Pinchot, he saw that his life was connected to the greater life that's around him. And the last thing is care for nature and show compassion for the environment. So I encourage you to become connected with what's going on in your community. Here on campus, we have the North 40 Gardens. We can also get connected and have compassion for the environment within our households. Are we living a sustainable life? So these are all things that really can bring us closer to nature. And finally, as we close, I just want to take one more breath in as we're in this group right now and we're enjoying the thoughts of nature, to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Brittany, for that. And man, I mean, there's a sense in which just being out here for your talk feels so much better. For those of us who are out here, those of you who are in your office on Zoom, I am so sorry. So I hope you can walk outside here in a moment. At this point, we're going to open it up for questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put it in chat, or if you're sitting here, just raise your hand and feel free to put the questions in chat. I will ask them Professor Whitman so everyone on Zoom can hear them, and then we'll go from there.
Like being in Pennsylvania and like seasonal depression and whatnot, I've noticed that Pennsylvania and like seasonal depression and whatnot, I've noticed that my bearded friend came to my office helps just because she has a heat lamp and whatnot. So what do you think is the benefit behind like putting like the like trendy like sunset?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to repeat that question. Whenever attendees here asked that, and if I get it wrong, correct me. But just even with the winters, and Professor Whitman talked about how cold it gets in the winter. She was even saying that, you know, she brings in these like heat lamps for her pets. And what is the benefit of those things? Whether like heat lamps, or I think you said a sun lamp. Do those help when it's winter and it's cold and we can't be sitting out here like we are now?
The sun lamp help.
Yeah, I absolutely think that they help. And I encourage my clients, even my clients that don't have seasonal depression, to purchase one of those seasonal affect lights, because I think every little bit helps, especially because of the society we live in and we're so busy in our offices. And some of us have offices that don't have windows in them. And so I highly encourage that, and you can find them on online stores for reasonable price. But I also suggest to bringing the indoor or the outdoors indoors. So if people can bring in plants, or again, if you go to the seashore and you want to bring in sand or seashells, or even buying, I have one client that we talk about buying bouquets of flowers, right? A $6 bouquet of flowers once a week, and just replacing it because we're bringing that in. Another suggestion is that you can have screensavers up of beautiful scenes as well. Now, they don't increase the benefits as much, but in one study, it was taking place in a workplace. And so some of the employees were in cubicles, gray cubicles, no pictures of. They had to eat lunch at their desk. They weren't allowed to have beautiful scenery on their desktops. And then they were asked, like, how happy are you? How is your constant life satisfaction? They then compared this to a group of employees that were allowed to go outside 3 times a day. They had plants on their desks. They had visual scenery, greenery everywhere. And they found that the people that were allowed these things were actually happier, higher work-life satisfaction than the people that had none of it. So we can use artificial things as well during the winter, which I think is important. But even when it's cold out, minutes just to kind of breathe in the fresh air.
All right. I think we've solved the echo problem, but so I apologize for that. Other questions?
So I was wondering, is it possible to kind of reverse the effects of that chemical change going through nature, or is it just something that is kind of permanent and it's really hard after you just your brain's just kind of used to that sort of like dopamine, and then you just start releasing.
The question is here from one of our live audience members about the overuse of the internet, which I think all of us have experienced during the pandemic and probably before. And the question is the overuse of the internet and how it changes our brain chemistry. Can engaging in nature help reverse that? Or is that just something that we're permanently stuck with?
Yeah, so I love that question because it really speaks to the benefits of neuroplasticity. And that's what we really want to draw on when we're thinking about this. So no, we're not stuck with it. We can increase our dopamine. And I think, again, with a mixture, right? So I think we are on, we're always on in this presentation or being by a window, that will actually help with that as well. And then I think too, just one more thing, a side topic is that, we can listen to sound, neurotransmitters. So I highly suggest the nature sounds, but nature sounds mixed in with bilateral music or binaural music will also help with the communication with it.
All right, we have a question here from our online audience. And so the question is, when using nature to release stress outdoors specifically, how do you find that beauty on the day that is gloomy and the sun isn't shining and you can't focus on inhaling that energy from the sun? What do you focus on instead?
Yeah, I also love that question. And listen, I don't want to sound like a hypocrite because there will be days where it is gloomy out and I want to stay in my sweatpants. But I do think that there's benefits on those gloomy days or those winter days, right? When it's slushy and yucky out, just going out and breathing in the fresh air. I can't remember what the exact name of it is now, but there is actually a chemical that trees and flowers and grass put out there into the air that also acts on our immune system. And so even though they may be dormant during the winter, that's still going to be circulating within the air.
Other questions? Some of you have asked about recording. So yes, this is being recorded. We will make that available. And so if you want to even just drop your email into the chat, or you can direct message that to me, I'll make sure you get that recording.
And I also welcome anyone to email me any questions or afterthoughts. I'm always happy to talk about this topic.
I think as we're waiting for potentially more questions, I have a question. You talked about the idea of engaging in seasonal fruits and vegetables. So are you endorsing the pumpkin spice hype?
Not artificial seasonings.
Fair enough. Fair enough. My students know that I am always ragging on the pumpkin spice hype. So, but we have a question from the live audience. Go ahead.
So when you talk about the indigenous people and how they use, I've always found that like nighttime and the moon symbolism has always been big with them. How does like the night scenery and nighttime nature, how does that draw on like your immune system? How does that affect us as the humans and how we interact with like the nighttime versus just like the sunlight?
The question is, Professor Whitman talked about the indigenous people, and one of the things in their world is that nighttime imagery was really big. And so we talked a lot about engaging the sunshine and things like that. But what about at night? And is there any benefit to engaging with nature during, so when the sun has gone down?
Yeah, this is such a great question, because what we have found with modern technology is that we're not the sun down in the moon. And so if you were to do any readings about the sleep cycles of the indigenous people, or even people before we had technology, you would find that they had a much healthier sleep cycle. And I know in teaching all of my classes, when I ask the question to my students, do you have a healthy sleep cycle? I rarely have a room full of hands, and I see you laughing because it's true, right? And again, I can say it for myself. And so, when the moon is out, this is a time of peace. It's a time of healing and restoration. And so, even if we look into Chinese culture and we think of the yin and the yang, like the moon is a big part of that, right? Because that's the restoration, the calming.
I may be part of the guilty party for why they have a bad sleep cycle. So just being honest. Other questions? I see a lot of emails dropping into the chat, or into my DMs here. So I will make sure you guys get that recording. Any other questions? If not, Professor Whitman, I'll give you the last word today. Any parting words for the audience?
I just encourage you to before get outside or bring some of it into your homes. I also hear what today's talk, share it with your friends and your family of nature. And again, I welcome you to send me any emails, any questions, or if you want any further conversations regarding this topic. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Professor Whitman. And again, her email is just bwhitman@northampton.edu. So please feel free to reach out to her. And I just want to say thank you to all of you for joining us today. Our next Spartan Talk is next week, right on the same Zoom link. And so we'll have an email being sent out about that one as well. And Professor McLennan from our Monroe campus will actually be talking about music, which in many ways goes hand in hand with what Professor Whitman was talking about today. So we hope to see you right back here next week. So thanks again for joining us. I hope all of you have a wonderful weekend. Take some time, get out there in nature, and just really relax. I think all of us could use a little bit of that at this point in that semester. So thank you again. Thank you, Professor Whitman, and we'll see you guys next week.